Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine. It is May 15th. These are your headlines. We've got 40-pound striped bass swimming around all over southern New England. We're hearing about great winter flounder fishing out on the Cape, and the weak fishing is starting to pick up in Connecticut. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
No guessing, just catching. New Explore Series fish finders keep you locked on fish with unbeatable clarity, best-in-class imaging options, and a stunning ultra-bright HD screen. There's more to explore, only with Humminbird.
Before we begin, we've got a few news items for you guys. The first one we're going to talk about is Surfland Bait and Tackle Surf Casting Demo Day, which takes place this Saturday, May 17th. And for all the details on that, we're going to check in with Kevin Huang from Surfland. Here he is.
What's up, guys? This weekend on Saturday, May 17th, we have a surf casting demo day at Surfland Bait and Tackle in Plum Island, Massachusetts. The Fisherman magazine will be there with a table giving away free pliers when you sign up for subscriptions. We got custom plug builders, 24/7 guppy, sinker plugs. My buddy Derek at Lights Out. Elliot's bringing flags. We have Earl from Von Stahl's going to be there. Pen fishing, St. Croix rods. It's going to be a great event. And I'll see you guys from 9 to 1 o'clock at Surfland Bait and Tackle.
Next thing I want to talk about is sea bass season opening up in Massachusetts and Connecticut. Over in Massachusetts, you've got a minimum size of 16 and a half inches with a 4-fish bag limit. In Connecticut, you've got a minimum size of 16 inches with a 5-fish bag limit. You got to watch those borders though, because we don't open up in Rhode Island until the 22nd. Other than that, you guys should be good to go. So get out there this weekend and get those first sea biscuits of the year. Last thing, of course, is the giveaway, which is ongoing. This one's going to wrap up, is it next week? Yeah, I think it's next week. So that one wraps up on the 25th. And we're giving away a surf howdy made by me and a fillet knife from Dexter. And really still not a clear winner. We've got a couple of really good photos, but someone could definitely swoop in here in the last inning and take it away. So if you guys don't know the drill, basically I just want a picture of you holding your fish. I don't care if it's freshwater, saltwater, inshore, offshore, kayak, paddleboard, none of that matters to me. I just want a well-composed photo that shows the angler holding the fish in a setting that sort of exemplifies New England fishing. Outside of that, you just got to give me the details, like who caught the fish, where it was caught, what it was caught on, how big it was, all that important stuff. Get it into me at danderson@thefisherman.com or text them to the number on the screen. We'll get you in the contest, we'll get you in the magazine, we'll get you in the report, and heck, you might even win something cool. So get those photos in and we'll see who wins. The second week at the CKC was even busier than the first, with 8 new entries. We saw David Dew coming in hot with a pair of fish, a 32.5-inch third-place striper and a 14-inch second-place scup. Todd Trions leads the striper category with a 33 3/4 incher, and Tom Hood holds second place at 33. Larry Newman entered the first bluefish of 2025 with a 33 3/4 incher. Bob Stuber logged the 34 incher not long after, holding first and second place respectively. And Justin Oser is back with a 20-inch tog and a 15-inch scup, both leading their respective categories. The top 3 looks like this. We have Tom Hood in third place with 4 points, Todd Trions in second place also with 4 points, and Justin Oser holds first place with 6 total points.
Hey kayakers, the Fisherman's Coastal Kayak Clash contest is back. Win this fully outfitted Hobie Mirage Lynx kayak from Yak Attack along with other great prizes. Catch and release as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. To enter, you must be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine, fish from a kayak, and document your catch. Many chances to win great prizes, so get out there on the water now and fish hard. To be part of the action, you must be a subscriber and register at thefisherman.com. We're into the second week of the 2025 Dreamboat Contest, and here are the entries for the week ending in May 14th. Our first week fish is on the board from Long Island subscriber Thomas Luciano of Sayville, New York, weighing in at saltwater tackle at 6.5 pounds. Next, taking first in the Sea Robin category, it's Long Island subscriber Vince Zorkis from Long Beach, New York, with his Sea Robin coming in at 3.4 pounds, weighed in at Bay Park Fishing Station. The leaderboard this week stands at straight 10s. Placing first is Thomas Luciano. Taking second is Vince Zorkis. In third is Scott Waterman. Make sure you check your entry before submitting, and don't forget about the 10-week window. Are you the best angler in the Northeast? Well, now is your chance to prove it. The Fisherman's Dream Boat Contest is back. Win this Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha along with these other great prizes. Fish hard and weigh in as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. What's the catch? You must be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine. All it takes is one fish on the board to win a great prize. So however you fish, you have a shot. For all the details and official rules, visit thefisherman.com.
Moving over to the reports now, we've seen striped bass over slot size now being caught up in Maine. The biggest fish I've heard of up there was 36 inches. So that's sort of the last shoe to drop in, striper mania here in the spring run. So that pretty much means that we have striped bass all the way around at this point. So that's exciting stuff. Also seen some nice largemouth bass coming out of some of the southern Maine and New Hampshire ponds. Drop it down over the border into Massachusetts. Let's check back in with Kevin Huang. Here he is from Surfland Bait and Tackle.
What's up, guys? Kevin from Surfland Bait and Tackle, checking in with the weekly report. Striper fishing has officially started on Plum Island, Massachusetts. Like I said, it was any day now, and it came. Guys on the ocean front were catching fish. Guys in the mouth of the river of the Merrimack been catching fish. Bait-wise, sea worms was like the bait of choice. The guy fishing sea worms did really well. Caught 7 fish. I hand-picked like a dozen worms for him, and he was ecstatic. He caught a bunch of fish. This is Michael Doobie with his first stripers of the season. Other guys did really well with paddle tails, like Al Gags, gravity tails with different sized jig heads. If you're gonna fish the mouth, make sure you pack like anything from a 3/4 ounce up to like a 2 ounce lead head, because the current's moving on the outgoing tide. So I would definitely pack some heavier stuff if you're going out there. Here's a picture of a fish caught on the ocean front on an Al Gag. Phenomenal fishing, right? And then upriver, guys are also catching striped bass, and they're doing the same. Because of all the rain, the river's moving pretty fast, so they're throwing a lot of heavier bucktails and stuff farther upriver. And smallmouth fishing. Here's a picture right here of a smallmouth caught also. And Clay from the Plum Island Surfcasters had a juniors event where he took a bunch of kids out to go catch carp, and they got into some pretty big carp. Check this picture, right? Some big carp. So 50-something degrees is the magic number for fishing across the board. Freshwater, saltwater, everything's coming to life. I mean, fishing's just going to get better and better and better. So I hope everybody gets out there and enjoys some of this nice weather we have in between all the rain we're getting this month. So I'll see you guys this weekend. If you come down to our surfcasting demo day at Plum Island, we have some special giveaways, some custom lures. We have a special colorway from Super Strike that Steve painted up for us. So I'll see you guys then. Come on and say hi. See ya.
Now we'll drop down to the Boston area and check in with Danny Parma from Fish Bucket Sport Fishing.
Thanks, Dave. Dan checking in with this week's report. Things are starting to pick up in the Boston area. I was out there last night, and we were seeing flips on the top of the water. There's a lot of bait moving through. Buddy of mine was out on the harbor over the weekend and got himself a 36-inch striper, pretty close to the Tobin Bridge, and a couple of other smaller ones in that local area. They're here, they're moving around, still in kind of small schools, but as the year progresses, the schools will get bigger and bigger. Don't forget, this weekend, this Sunday is the Zobo Flounder Derby. Fishing Fanatics in Everett is doing the derby, so if it's something you can get out on the water this weekend, definitely get yourself a ticket to the derby and try and get some win some prizes and get some flounder on the board. That's what I got for you guys. Stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Heading west out into central Massachusetts. Haven't heard as much this week from Wachusett. I know the smallmouth bass fishing is still good, but it seems to be, not tapering off, but just maybe not quite as good as it was the week before. We've had a lot of warm weather, might be pushing those fish a little bit deeper. So if you've been planning to get in on it and you haven't done it yet, I would act now because those fish may soon be a little harder to access. Heading further west, we do not have a report from Roy Lytle this week, but I have been hearing good largemouth bass fishing pretty much across the entire internal, fuselage of Massachusetts. A lot of good bass fishing taking place up there with some really nice fish. Jumping down to southeast Mass, but the south coast, coming down from Boston all the way down to Plymouth. Starting to see surf guys posting some much bigger fish now, up into like the high 30-inch class. So things are, firing on all cylinders there, and within the next week or so, especially with some fish going through the canal this week, we should see some bigger fish moving into that region. Another fishery that's firing on all cylinders out on the Cape is the winter flounder fishing out of Sesuit Harbor. We've been seeing a lot of really nice fish. Jason Colby takes his operation from Westport out to Sesuit for the month of May, and he puts on a clinic. The guy he's got to be one of the best winter flounder fishermen in the whole Northeast. But he's been putting his clients on some really nice fish. I'll put some pictures up here. But if you want to get in on that, which is an interesting fishery that not a lot of people get to partake in anymore because it's so sort of localized at this point, you're definitely going to want to give Jason a call over at Little Sister Charters. He's got some openings, so go check him out and get in on that awesome fishery. Flounder fishing is holding its own, still plugging along pretty good in the Boston Harbor, Quincy Bay area. So you've got that as another option. Crossing the canal out onto the Cape, those backside, not really backside, but sort of those bayside beaches that go up from the canal out to Barnstable Harbor and beyond are starting to put out some better numbers and better sizes of stripers. As more fish go through the canal, that's only going to get better and better. That's a good place to keep an eye on at this time of the year. Really good shot at getting some nice fish over there. On the outer beaches, I haven't heard quite so much. There's fish up in some of the estuaries like Pleasant Bay and Nauset Inlet and places like that. Just haven't heard a lot from the actual beaches yet. Keep an eye on that, though. That should fire up any time now. Heading down into the Nantucket Sound area, there's been some bluefish around in Rhode Island, but I have not heard of the first fish showing up at those classic bluefish spots like Popponesset or anything like that. If you've heard something, send me an email. I would be interested to know. But from what I've heard, it has not happened just yet, so we're still keeping an eye on that area. Pushing up into Buzzards Bay, a lot of striped bass activity in that area. A lot of fish migrating in, sort of backing up outside the canal. They come in waves and then they push through the ditch. It's a really good area to keep an eye on at this time of the year, and it's a really good area to find a really big fish. We're going to check in with Eddie now, but I am going to add a little thing to the Canal report because he sent his report on Monday, and I know he doesn't have these last few days in there. And what I've heard, it's been pretty good. There's been some fish in the 20 to 30 pound class in the canal, pushing up toward the herring run. And the feeds have been good. Guys have been doing well on topwater plugs. So the canal is going off right now. We're firing on all cylinders. And now let's hear the rest of the report from East End Eddie. Here he is.
Hi, Dave. Got a eastbound rising tide here this morning on the canal with a full moon that hopefully is going to activate the fish soon. So guys did well last week around mid-canal. The herring run was pumping out more herring than I'd seen in a long time. And so Tim Hollywood Petrarca, Mashpee Mike Larea, and Bill and the Girl Prados all did well. They caught fish from 33 to 38 inches with Hollywood taking high hook. Lots of guys caught fish. The most popular lures last week were white redfins and light-colored SP minnows. And then the night before Mother's Day, Kyle Fleetwood caught a high-end slot, measured out to 30 inches. Kyle was throwing a blurple SP minnow into a west dropping tide. So there's fish there, you know, they're just not as plentiful as they were a week ago. So my tip of the week is when you're tying a knot, make sure you wet the line around the knot area, just so that it will, when you clinch down on it, it will seep better and be a stronger knot. So until next time, catch a big one.
Pushing back out into Buzzards Bay, we are hearing about good togging in the west end, you know, maybe even a little further into the east part of Buzzards Bay, so maybe from like New Bedford down to the canal. Togging's been good. I haven't heard of any really big fish, but the bite's been good, plenty of keepers. Guys are doing well there. And then the estuaries, you know, from like Marion Harbor all the way out to the Westport River have had striped bass in them. Most of these fish are in the, you know, 10 to 16, 17 pound range, but there are some fish in the 20 to 30 pound range showing up in some of these places as well. The nighttime guys seem to be doing the most damage on the bigger fish, and that's what I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week.
I could be a lighthouse in the fog, trying my best to guide you.
Crossing over into Rhode Island, let's start things off with an East Bay report from TJ Kopecky.
Thanks, Dave. Hey guys, nice to be back again, and got a lot of stuff to talk about in the East Bay, so we're going to get right to it. We're going to start in the Warren, Barrington Rivers. Striped bass bite has been super hot. Lots of pogies up in there. Lots of herons still running around. There's lots of little shiners up in the bridges, all around the pylons. There's just a lot of bait, and there's a lot of fish on it. And I literally have been down there a couple nights this week just waiting to see if we're actually going to get a cinderworm hatch to add to that. The night bite has been a little slower than the morning bite. And I realized that this weekend I fished both mornings on the Barrington Bridge, and I did really well on topwater plugs for Matheson Street. But going back at night in the afternoon, the bite was not there. And I don't know if the tide was a factor with the moon tide this week that we had, but the water was a little stained. So the bass I found are biting better in the morning in the rivers. Tog bite is lights out still from the bridges, behind the American Tourister, anywhere along the Warren River, behind Blount. There's a couple of like other little docks there, the Warren Marina. You can fish from the shore, straight up and down, along walls. I've seen guys catching fish at all the spots, and some of those fish are in the 20-inch range. So there are some good fish. Just, you know, guys, be sure to let those females go so they can spawn out and keep those males. Getting out into the bay, along Colt State Park, along the Bristol Highlands, there's plenty of bass outside of there. Going out towards Rumstick Point to Nayet, there's a lot of bass like congregating towards the Providence River. And then a little further south on the Prudence Island Flats, there's lots of bass out there too. Just got to find them. On your sounder, if you're in your boat. And the spoons have been working really good, along with the bucktails and the big swimming plugs. Moving into Mount Hope Bay, it's been stacked with fish also, up into the Taunton River. The Mount Hope Point, into Church's Cove, into the mouth of the Kickapoo River around Spar Island. All good spots right now. There's tons of guys out there. Just find the fleet. You're going to find the bait. You'll find the bass. There's some decent bass out there. Bass in the high 30s. I haven't seen a 40 yet or gotten a report of one, but I know that they're out there. So, hey guys, it's a good time to get out there and fish. There's a lot of bait everywhere. So, until next week, tight lines.
The fishery that's sort of leading the way in Rhode Island fishing right now is striped bass fishing, and the bulk of the guys that are doing it up inside Narragansett Bay. I spent a day up in the bay on my buddy's boat last week, and we did quite well. A lot of different bait fish in the bay this year. We're seeing squid, we're seeing mackerel. I think I even saw some whiting out there, and now I'm starting to hear again about more and more bunker moving in, which is going to draw in those bigger fish. Most of the fish that we caught were in the teens. I think we might have had one that touched 20 pounds, but checking in with other guys who do it every day up in the bay, there's some bigger fish now. We've seen fish up into the 40-pound class taken. And basically what it's taking is just finding those schools of bait, and a lot of times those bigger fish are just hanging with that bait. So the bay is looking good. Guys are getting it done, you know, bump trolling pogies, using the flutter spoon, using big spooks like the dock, and trolling the tube and worm has been finding some of these bigger fish as well. And moving outside the bay, the fluke fishing is starting to kick into gear now. I heard about some short fluke up around the Newport Bridge, and then we heard about some better fish out in Rhode Island Sound. And for a little bit more on that, let's check in now with Captain John Lee from JL Charters.
Hey, it's John Lee, Point Youth, Rhode Island. It's May 14th. This is our first trip of the year. Finally, we're in the water. We're out here fluking. The bite was pretty good. Right when the flood tide began, we had maybe an hour of decent fishing. Probably 3 wreck keepers, a bunch of shorts, some robins, and then that bite kind of died off. You'd still pick a few fish on the drifts, but it definitely slowed down. A lot of the fluke have maybe 2-inch anchovies in them, and so we kind of downsized our rigs, and that helped quite a bit. 1 jumbo sea bass, 2 short sea bass, 1 13-pound bluefish on a fluke setup. That was kind of entertaining for us, and it's a nice day out here, and so it begins. Here we go. These fish are going to just keep showing up. I'll get up with you next week. Have a good one.
Now let's check in quickly with Jeff Sullivan, who's been doing some freshwater fishing. Here he is.
What's up, guys? What's up, Dave? Back at it again this week doing some pre-spawn / spawn black crappie fishing. It's been lights out. It's been pretty good. I always look for the moons this time of year to target these checkers, and hey, it's been pretty good. So no live bait needed, 3-inch shads, inline spinners, other small shads like Kitex and stuff like that. All been doing the trick. And spinner baits, actually. They've been hitting big spinner baits like 3/8, ½ ounce, stuff like that, depending on where you fish and how deep you're fishing. But pretty much shallow structure, anywhere where the sun is, you know, towards the end of the day, these fish are very aggressive. Nice fish on it, nice colors on it, excuse me. As you can see, that they're starting to fan too. They're starting to spawn. So yeah, guys, all right, I'm gonna get back out there, let this girl go, and keep going. All right, next week.
Heading out along the South County beaches, I think everyone's waiting for these squid clouds to start showing up out there. With all the squid showing up in Newport, I have to believe that there are squid along the South County beaches. When you find those squid, you're very likely to find the fluke underneath them. We're seeing a pretty good movement of fluke moving in, so that's definitely an area I would be keeping an eye on right now. And then the bass fishing along the beaches has been solid. Breachways are putting out fish. You know, anytime we have a moon, we're at the full moon right now, those breachways are going to put out some fish, and that's what I have for you guys in Rhode Island this week. Moving over into Connecticut now, I think the biggest standout thing that's going on in Connecticut is the weak fishing really starting to pick up. We've seen some fish around the Connecticut River, we've seen some fish up in Narragansett Bay, and then we're seeing, you know, as we usually do, the best fishing for weak fish has been out in the Western Sound. But it all kind of came at once. It all happened over the last 7 days. We're just seeing a lot more people getting out there and targeting them, and we're seeing a lot more fish caught. So if you got a weak fish on your bucket list, or you just want to get one, or you just want to go out and target them, I would head to Connecticut and look around the Connecticut River or the Housatonic River, or the West Haven Bar, and a good chance you're going to find some of those fish. The other thing that's pretty strong there, just like everywhere else, is the striped bass fishing. Now the striped bass fishing is pretty much homogeneous throughout the entire sound, so you can find them from the Thames River all the way out to the Housatonic River, and then cross the border all the way up to the Throgs Neck Bridge. We're seeing fish in the 10 to 30 something pound class. I've even heard of a few 40-pound fish way out west. So, striper fishing is firing on all cylinders there. Trolling mojos has been a really good way to connect with these fish, especially in the Western Sound. Flutter spoons, big spooks like the dock, all those things are getting it done. Deep diving swimming plugs have also been getting it done. And we got sea bass opening up this weekend, so you're going to want to keep an eye on some of those sea bass hotspots, like the Bloody Grounds, like some of those wrecks out in the Western Sound, or kind of heading to the Connecticut River and then just heading straight out until you find the outer edges of some of those reefs. All those places are going to hold sea bass, and hopefully the season will start off hot. While we're in the Connecticut River region, let's check in now with our field correspondent, starting with Mike Roy.
Hey everybody, for this week's fishing report, the striper fishing is improving after the moon. We have a lot of migratory fish showing up. Those fish are loaded with sea lice, which is an indicator that they are fresh migratory fish. One of the lures we've been fishing a lot is the Ben Parker flutter spoon. Really like that color right there. It looks awesome. And I really like fishing these big spoons on a bait caster, low profile style reel. Works really good, like the Shimano Tranx 301. And this is on a kind of a medium heavy fast action rod. This is a G Loomis Pro Blue, IMX Pro Blue 843. Really good rod for working these flutter spoons. In addition to that, we're having a really good weakfish run. Most of our trips, we're getting double-digit weakfish, so it's fun to see those fish running again. The bottom fishing for porgies has been really good as well. There's a lot of them around. A bluefish showed up. They're chewing up all our soft plastics. So time to go is now if you want to catch that spring run over the next couple weeks. So if you're looking to get out, contact us to book a trip.
Now let's head up the river and we'll check in with Rowan Lytle. Here he is.
Hey everybody, the Connecticut River is still coming down from the flooding we just had, and a lot of places are still very, very high and muddy. So expect water levels up in all the backwaters and coves, and there could still be some debris in the main stem of the river. It should be clearing up a little bit, but the water is high, flowing significantly, so the main stem fishing could be on the tricky side, as it often is when we're in flood conditions. That said, there's still decent fishing to be had in the backwaters and some of the tributaries, and a lot of fish are on the move in the somewhat cooler conditions we have. This kind of improves the pike fishing this time of year when it's on the cooler side, so expect slightly better post-spawn pike fishing. And channel catfish fishing is always, of course, pretty decent in the tributaries this time of year when they're up and have some stain to them. So those would be the mainstays in my mind. The bass fishing could still be pretty decent. The smallmouth are coming off the spawn. Some of them are probably still on beds, and the largemouth are getting into the thick of the spawn. I've seen a lot of them working their way onto beds and working nests, but multiple stages of bass spawn going on. Pike post-spawn aggressive. Good catfish bite. Those are the things I would really look at.
Now we'll check in with Matt Stone from Black Hall Outfitters.
What's up everyone, Matt here from Black Hall Outfitters in Westbrook with this week's fishing report. A lot of fish in the area now, definitely Central Sound, definitely have moved in. We had the moon last week, certainly put some fish on the move. And I think locally we're definitely seeing that bite fire up in a pretty noteworthy way. Bigger fish, more fish in general, not necessarily those giants that we're waiting for eventually, those 40-inch plus fish, but they're mixed in right now, and they're only going to be more as the month of May goes on. So that's always great to see. You're going to find fish on a lot of shallow flats this time of year. They can be notoriously fickle, really tough to get them to bite. Asked me how I know in the last few days. Found a lot of fish, but they have been really tough to trick. I've thrown a lot of weightless soft plastics, thrown a lot of SP minnows to try to get a reaction strike out of them. But really, you got to kind of time your tide, time your day. Today I was able to get a handful of really fun fish on flats, 3 feet of water. So on a game on X-Walk and a 24/7 mully, we had rain, wind, and cloud cover. So it kind of explains why they fired up on that in that situation. You're definitely going to see those fish continue to move around a lot. They're not necessarily going to be in the same spot as they were the day before, but keep looking, keep casting. You will find them, and there are more every day. Along with some bluefish mixed in locally I've seen as well, which is always fun. I always like bluefish until about June, and then I don't like them anymore because they ruin all our tackle. Plenty to do out there. Good luck, enjoy it. We're just getting started.
Heading west from there, the story's about the same as everywhere else. We're hearing good striped bass fishing. We're hearing about some weakfish, especially after dark. And, a lot of guys anticipating the opener of black sea bass. And for a little bit more on what's going on in the Western Sound, let's toss it over now to Max Finch from Fisherman's World.
This past week, we've seen some big bass pushing upwards close to 40 pounds. We've seen some keeper fluke. We've seen some really big porgies, and we've seen some weakfish. So fishing is really getting going now. Locally in our local waters, places like our deep water reefs 11B, 28C, the OB buoy, and then the hump south of Green's Ledge has been holding big schools of striped bass. One day it can be lights out fishing, the next day it can be a little slower. This is because it's the beginning of the season and the bass are pushing through in schools. Once the bunker schools really start to fill in locally, that should keep the fish here. Flutter spoons, diamond jigs, guys dragging wire with umbrella rigs, bunker spoons, mojos, you name it. Top water in the mornings have been really good. I got out a couple times this past week and the fishing is excellent. People are still hitting the Oyster Bay for the porgies. We've seen some really big hubcasts this past week, and we're starting to hear some trickles of some porgies on our side. So this should just get better as the water's warm. To our west, Greenwich, Captain's Islands, 32A, Mamaroneck, Hempstead, the fishing for bass is excellent. So down west, the guys are really beating up the bass and they're filling in locally in our local waters. On the fluke side, it's a little slower. You really gotta, really pick through a lot of shorts. I keep hearing short after short after short and then a keeper. But your best bet right now is Eaton's Neck, the Sand Waves, inside Huntington Harbor, Smithtown Bay, and Port Jeff. Those are all really sandy areas, and when you're drifting, you're marking these schools of sand eels. I would, mark the spots so you can keep working those areas. When you find the bait, the fish should be there. High lows, bucktails, tip with gulp, squid. Bait is number one this time of year. We see, this is a good time of year to use bait for fluke. And then going on weakfish, we get our first weakfish reports this past week. I heard of 3. I saw a picture of 1 caught at calf pasture pier on a sandworm, which is cool. This is the time of year where we start to see them. If you do want to target these fish, I would concentrate on the shallow waters like the Norwalk Harbor, calf pasture beach, and then shallow around the islands, throwing small pink bucktails, small SPs, something in that 4-inch profile that seems to work really well for them. Thanks and good luck.
And that's what I have for you guys in the reports this week. Hopefully it's going to inspire you to get out there. A lot of great fishing going on right now. Striped bass definitely leading the way. We're seeing a lot of big fish. Guys are getting them all different ways. The kayak guys are scoring, the surf guys are scoring, the canal guys are scoring, and the boat guys are scoring. So this is high time. This is the best time of year, in my opinion, to striped bass fish. So get out there and make it happen. If you're not a subscriber to The Fisherman, I highly recommend you head over to our website. That's thefisherman.com. We cover all the fishing from Delaware to Maine, and we cover every angling discipline that you can pretty much think of, whether you're a fly guy, a surf guy, a inshore guy, an offshore guy, whether you'd like to travel, we cover it all. We cover tackle making, we cover everything. And it's $32 for the year, $31.95. You're going to get 12 paper editions sent to your house. You're going to get 26 digital editions sent to your email, and you're going to get digital access to all the back issues, plus our other 2 editions. So if you sign up for the New England edition, which is my edition, the edition that I run, you're also going to get digital access to the Long Island Metro and the New Jersey Delaware edition. So you're basically getting 3 magazines in one. But if you're still not interested after you check the website, which would be hard to believe, at the very least, give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube and hit that little bell thing right there so you get a notification every time we post something new. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.